I get asked a lot which genre I have the most difficulty with or which one I enjoy the most. While it's hard for me to pick one that I enjoy the most because I think that I enjoy writing almost any genre, I can easily tell you which genre I have the most difficulty with, and that is romance. Romance is a genre that I definitely struggle with. It's not because I don't enjoy the genre, I do like it, but the problem is I never feel like I can quite get it right or believably. And one of the few stories that I've written that was specifically about romance that I think I botched pretty terribly was My Alien Girlfriend. If you couldn't tell from the title alone, it was pretty obvious what it was going to be about. A few people even telling me in the comments section of the story chapters that the title was just a little too obvious. The setup is pretty simple. You have a young man who's in college, who's living in a sort of group house with a bunch of other guys attending this college, driving home one day kind of lamenting the fact that he is very much lonely, and most of the time he can't really seem to do much, even though his buddies at the house all have their own girlfriends and have their own social lives, and he is kind of a lonely introvert. While on his way home, suddenly something crashes into the earth nearby. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't recognize it, but it looks like some kind of strange spacecraft. He's about to head home and call somebody or talk to someone to ask if a satellite collapsed, only to discover that he's not alone in the home. There is a creature there with him, a very feminine-looking creature with oddly tinted orangish, pinkish skin, long pointed ears, black hair, a long prehensile tail, and digitigrated feet, kind of like what a dog or cat would have. The minute he tries to talk to her, she takes off running, and he gets into a little tussle with her, only for her to kiss him, thus learning his language, because that was an idea that I thought would be fun. And she tries to explain what is going on with her. She is an alien named Yumi Traval, and she is running away from home, but for reasons she cannot divulge just yet. Trusting in this guy to basically help her stay hidden, he has little choice but to try to help her out. Along the way, a sort of romance starts to blossom between the two as they both learn more and more and more about each other. But the more they learn, the more we start to realize that Yumi Traval is running from something far more big than they would have ever thought possible, including something very dangerous that could spell a lot of trouble for Earth itself. So their love will actually be tested in this story once they find out how big this threat actually is. So that's essentially the story without giving away too many bits of information. And if I had to think about all the stuff that I liked about the story, designing Yumi Traval's race was actually really fun. I did take some inspiration from certain things. For example, I took the gargoyles from Disney's Gargoyles and basically took away the wings and said that that's a good starting point. I thought that'd be very neat to try. As for the language, I have been asked if the language I created for her was based on anything because it has grammar and syntax and all that kind of stuff. Actually, no, I created it entirely from scratch. I'm no J.R.R. Tolkien, but I do find enjoyment in trying to create languages or create systems of communication. I think that that is a fun thing to practice with, and if you ever get to read the story, you will see how I basically created this language and what words and phrases you may be able to pick up on. So that was very fun. And then, of course, writing the romance itself. The biggest problem I have when writing romance is I'm worried about becoming too corny or too obvious or too cheesy. But the way I've learned about it is sometimes cheesy can be a good thing. I think some people can actually like a little bit of cheesiness in their romance because, look, there's something about romance, you know, you see it and you do kind of get this like little sense of, aw, you know, that's cute. And I think that inevitably some people are going to find something really cheesy, really over the top, really gushy, and then others are going to think it's totally sweet, innocent, and not at all out of the ordinary. I was still finding my balance there when I wrote this story, and you can definitely see where that worked and where that didn't. And I had a lot of fans of the story. I had a lot of people who really, really liked the story. I'll be real honest, I never thought that it was that good. I mean, I loved it, don't get me wrong, I loved writing it, and it's one of the few stories that I have actually finished from start to finish. Like, I actually wrote the final chapter of the story and released it, so it is done, but I never felt like I was truly satisfied with it, partially because it was shorter than I would have liked it to be. Two, because I felt like there were some things that I kind of rushed through and I could have handled a little bit better. And then three, I just was never comfortable with the romance. I felt like the romance could have been handled a lot better. I like the characters I liked where it was going. I liked some of the dramatic moments. I thought there was some really cool stuff involved, but I think it requires someone with more writing talent than I have to really capture what I was trying to go for with this story. Again, not that I dislike it, not that it's bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it could have been so much better, and I think that's what holds me back from truly, truly loving the story the way other people have. I'm not upset that other people love my story. Far from it. I'm flattered that so many people love it and so many people like the story. It means the world to me that they do, but I guess it's because of my own worst critic. I can't look at it without kind of going, man, I feel like I could have done better. I feel like this could have been a lot cooler. Now, some people were kind of wondering, did I get inspired by Mass Effect or by anything like that? I hadn't played Mass Effect when I created this story, so no, none of that came into play. The fact that it is science fiction and alien related was just something I wanted to try. I didn't really want to do another fantasy story at the time. I was trying to dip my hands into sci-fi a little and create my own alien race, and I think that it came out decently enough. But that is My Alien Girlfriend. So not a lot to say about this one. Pretty short, pretty simple by the book. What do you guys think? Will you guys check the story out? What do you think of the main setup? I know that I didn't go into a great deal of detail, but that's just because the story is done, and I would prefer it if y'all read it for yourselves rather than me tell you everything. So definitely go check it out if you have the time, and that's all I got to say for now. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.